Hi, everyone. How's it going? It is 2026. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you had a few days off, took some time to rest and relax and to connect with friends and family. I certainly took the time to just really reflect on 2025, thinking about the holidays are hard for me. So, definitely thinking about all the people in my life that I've lost. Both people, some people I've lost to death, right? Passing away. And others I've lost because their relationship ran its course. And I think it's really just part of life where people come into your lives and it may have been a really beautiful connection and you have a lot of great memories. And then it sort of ran its course and they are no longer in my life. And I think just reflecting on those, positive, really quality relationships and new relationships I've made, I've gained the new connections that I hope to gain in the future. For me, relationships are everything. I value the connections I have. I value my clients. I value all of you. I am thinking a lot about how I want to show up in 2026 and the work that I continue to have to do on myself, the blocks that have been with me that I can keep working on to unblock, and some that I've come to realize are there and that I want to work on and want to move past. So, even though I'm a practitioner and I've been for 25 years, I am a practitioner for life. Even like I will show up for you all, but I also have to show up for myself and keep pushing and challenging myself and having like brutal honesty with myself and all my clients. I owe it to everybody, right? This is why you hire me. This is why you show up for me. And what I can do for all of you, my promise is that I'll keep showing up and keep working on myself so I can continue to be a conduit to connection and healing. So 2026, if I can feel it in my bones, is going to be an amazing year. And I know we've all been through a lot the last few years and lots of disappointment and like disbelief, I would say. But I feel like 2026, there's a lot of awakening that's going to happen. People are already starting to see that there is so much more than meets the eye and that we need to question, we need to be curious, and we need to engage our critical thinking because I think a lot of us have been like blindsided. The wool's been pulled over our eyes. A lot of like misunderstandings, misconceptions, all of that stuff. I'm sure most of you can relate to what I'm talking about. So I think what we can do is commit to being brutally honest with ourselves, be as authentic as possible, be kind, show up in life, don't be mean, don't be a jerk. Just be a kind person that has a solid moral compass and believes in betterment of yourself, of others, all that stuff. So I'll get off my soapbox and I'll jump into today's material. But again, I want to encourage you to subscribe. If I haven't, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Frankie. I'm a board certified sex therapist. I'm also a clinical psychologist who's been practicing for 25 years. And I'm the CEO and founder of Little Gay Book, which is a matchmaking company that is nationwide. And if you are looking for a quality partner, you're ready to show up in your relationships, and you want to meet somebody great, definitely reach out to us. We'll hop on a call with you. We can share all about how we do what we do to see if you are the kind of client that we can work with and be successful with. And if you're straight and you're interested in working with a matchmaker, reach out to me and my team, and we'll get you connected to a matchmaker that will be a good fit for you anywhere in the world. And subscribe, and click on that bell below. And if anything that you see on my channel resonates and you think that you know somebody who could benefit from it, please share, like and comment and all the good things. And let's just jump in to today's topic: why breeding kink is growing in popularity. Maybe you've seen people talk about their breeding kink or wanting to be bred on social media or in your favorite steamy romance novel. What does it mean, and how can a regular part of human reproduction become a kink? Here's what you need to know about what a breeding kink is and why it may seem as though you're seeing it everywhere recently. What is a breeding kink? A breeding kink is a fantasy that centers around the idea of getting impregnated during sex or impregnating someone else during sex by ejaculating inside of them. The fantasy is less about pregnancy itself or being a parent. It focuses specifically on the moment of ejaculating inside someone. For many people interested in this kink, it intensifies the moment of climax to imagine they're being impregnated or focusing on the fact that they could be. Partners might get turned on by the idea of the receiving partner being filled up or use dirty talk specific to a breeding kink, like, "I'm going to get you pregnant," or "put a baby in me." Who is into breeding? The most literal basis of a breeding kink is rooted in, at least nominally, heterosexual and cisgender sexual roles, or at least the idea of them. At its most basic, a breeding kink draws on the idea of one penetrating partner ejaculating inside another penetrated partner. But that doesn't mean only straight cis people are into breeding. Quite the opposite, actually. A breeding kink is about the idea and associations of getting someone pregnant, not about the biological reality. Chromosomes aren't what's hot about it. Anyone of any gender and with a partner of any gender can act out a breeding fantasy, whether they ejaculate or not. All it really takes is a penetrative sex act and a partner who's into the fantasy too. Why are people into breeding? In many relational contexts, pregnancy is fraught or undesirable, even when it is wanted. Pregnancy is often considered a clinical and or somewhat stressful goal. What about breeding kink makes it sexy for people who are into it? Like all kinks and fetishes, this depends heavily on the people involved and their personal context. But here are a few reasons why people might be into breeding. Ownership and power exchange. In a power exchange context, both partners might be turned on by the idea of the dominant partner owning or possessing the more submissive partner. In some dominant contexts, this might look like having the bottom wear a collar or making rules about how they should behave or what they should wear. In other dynamics, a gesture of possession might extend to the submissive's physical body, like tattooing them in a way that marks them as belonging to the top. Breeding fantasies or pregnancy play can be part of this dynamic, playing up the idea that the penetrating partner can come inside the receiving partner or get them pregnant at all because they belong to them. For partners who are into this consensual and mutually pleasurable dynamic, a breeding fantasy can intensify this bond at the height of climax. For partners who are into degradation as part of a dynamic, breeding can also get at the fantasy of being treated as a less than full person. Being good for nothing other than breeding? Couples who are into playing with consensual non-consent might also role play about getting someone pregnant against their will or without their consent. Risk and taboo. Many people put a lot of effort and resources into not getting themselves or others pregnant, especially if we're having casual sex. We may feel significant anxiety or stress around the idea of unexpected pregnancy in real life. Seemingly paradoxically, this may make the idea of a breeding kink that occurs only in the realm of fantasy even better. The taboo of doing something we know we're not supposed to do, like having unprotected sex or getting someone pregnant, when in real life it would be a mistake to do so, can heighten all the intense feelings we're already experiencing with sex. For many of us, introducing the idea of the taboo or forbidden or of taking a risk into sex turns us on immensely. Love and commitment. For some people who are into breeding, the idea of being impregnated during sex is a way to honor and heighten an emotional commitment that they already share with the partner. For people who are already in a long-term relationship or a marriage, or who are seriously in love, the fantasy of breeding can be a way of further enshrining that connection and making sex more emotionally intense, even if actually having and raising a child isn't something you or your partner actually want right now or ever. Why might a breeding kink be more popular right now? There's no definitive answer to why breeding kinks might seem to be on the rise right now. It is true that reproductive rights and the specter of unwanted pregnancy is very present culturally and in the personal lives of many people in our current moment. As abortion access and reproductive freedoms are rolled back across many U.S. states, pregnancy has become riskier and unwanted pregnancy a more realistic danger for many Americans. Though it may seem paradoxical, higher risk associated with real pregnancy may make the fantasy of pretend impregnation hotter and more appealing for some. For many, the appeal of a breeding kink is predicted entirely on risk and taboo. From trade wives to natalism to the criminalization of abortion, pregnancy, and reproduction are very much in the zeitgeist right now, and it may not be surprising if it's showing up in our fantasy lives. That said, it's also possible for kinks to spread and grow more popular organically. As kink and sexual diversity become more commonplace and socially acceptable, it's common for it to seem as though everyone is suddenly into something new, when in fact, they've been into those things in private for a long time. And that's what I have for you all today. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll be here with you all next week. Thank you so much for being here and showing up for me. Take really good care, everyone. See you then.